Started. So, welcome to Trust Your Gut at SayaWork. So, my name is Laura, I'm a nutritional therapist, and I'm going to be taking you through all about the gut today. And it's my favorite topic because every nutritionist, nutritional therapist will be very much focused on gut health. It's a massive topic, and as the famous physician said, Hippocrates, he said, everything starts in the gut. If you can't eat, if you can't absorb your nutrients well from your food, then everything else in the body suffers because all of your cells will be essentially starved of the right nutrients they need in order to create good health. So, a bit of housekeeping before we get started. So, I'm a nutritional therapist. I was trained in the UK. I'm actually from the UK. I'm Chinese, but I was born and bred over there, and my whole life after training in nutritional therapy has all been about this. I live and breathe what I do. I love helping my clients. I work with people on a one-to-one basis to help them from an A to B journey, especially those people who are underserved by the conventional medical system. So my own health journey, I had chronic IBS for a very, very long time. Sometimes I still suffer because when you're in Bali, you kind of get challenged by all sorts of types of bacteria and parasites, and it's not easy to say the least, especially if you have a gut that's been brought up in England where everything is extra clean. Along with that, I've also had hormone problems, anxiety, low energy, anemia, Raynaud's disease, so many different conditions that also are very much linked to the gut as well. So now, I see clients all over the world, from America to Bali to New Zealand. It's a really great journey that I've been on. So if you are interested in what I do in a bit more detail, let me know later. But yeah, my job really is to give everybody a different perspective on healthcare. Does anyone have any health issues that they've been struggling to get to the bottom of, or any symptoms that have just been like, you're just not sure what's going on? Yeah. And care to share at all? Or?
I think it's gut related. Just unnatural. No, not unnatural. It's natural, but unusual patterns.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. We'll go into that. Yourself?
I got gut and liver.
Sorry?
I got gut and liver problems.
Gut and liver
I went
problems.
to Health of Bali, and they did some cleansing, and that didn't really work, and I got some symptoms all over the body.
Yeah.
And I'm just like at the emergency break to find alternatives to solve that issue.
Yeah. So the gut and the liver are so very connected. It's kind of like a two-way relationship. With the liver, it makes bile to help you digest fat. Your gut, of course, absorbs nutrients to help your liver work. So do all the detoxification processes. Everything that you eat has to basically, all the chemicals have to pass through your liver to be detoxified as well. So yeah, there's so many links between the gut and the liver. So we won't go into too much detail today, but feel free to ask me later. But anyway, yeah, functional medicine, if anyone doesn't know, it's basically what I do. Functional medicine is all about looking at the root causes of health problems rather than sticking a Band-Aid on your symptoms, such as using like medications to solve gut problems. There is a deeper root to all health issues, and when you dig deep enough, you will find the answer, and you will be able to hopefully solve it, or at least relieve it in some sort of way. Okay, so who has had Bali Belly here? Everybody. You guys are lucky. So are you Indonesian as well? Yeah. And you guys never get any issues with like the water? Yeah, if you guys have like robust guts. Any of us that have been brought up in like Western countries, we all struggle really badly because firstly, actually I have a slide on this. is it a developed country problem? Because in Western countries, we tend to get more instances of digestive issues. As you can see here, this was 2014, that's 2023. Basically, all your Western countries like America, the UK, Australia as well, Russia, Europe, it's widespread. So we all have really rubbish guts because our bacterial compositions are really rubbish. And I'll explain why. But basically, Bali belly symptoms include diarrhea, abdominal cramps, nausea, vomiting, bloating, and you probably have had a parasite or maybe some salmonella or something, but essentially Bali belly is just gastroenteritis, food poisoning. And you can get that anywhere really. You can get that in your home countries, you can get that here, you know, it's quite common, particularly if there's just poor food hygiene or, you know, the water's not clean for various reasons. And yeah, so it's not just isolated to Bali, but unfortunately some of us get it more here than in our home countries. So, okay. So why trust your gut? This is like a phrase I use all the time because I think it's important to trust your gut. We have now got so many different types of medications. This is a shelf in a drugstore in the UK, and it's all full of medications. And I was just like, wow, we have so many different types of medications to support different gut issues, yet none of them are solving the root cause of the problem. So about 1 in 5 and up to 1 in 4 people have IBS now, so irritable bowel syndrome. Anyone have irritable bowel syndrome here?
I know that.
So has anyone heard of irritable bowel syndrome? Yeah. So basically it's a blanket term to cover digestive issues that your doctor can't really solve, basically. It doesn't really help. IBS is really a blanket name for bloating, constipation, diarrhea, food sensitivities, issues that seem to just won't get resolved. And actually, there are so many reasons why that is, and that's largely what my job is all about. It's largely what my job is about because people who don't find any relief from medications like this come to me and I help find the root cause of their issue and alleviate that. A lot of people that come to me use laxatives like Senna, Buscopan for getting rid of their cramps, like abdominal cramps, Imodium for anti-diarrhea. Has anyone used Imodium for Bali belly? Yeah, actually that's the worst thing you could do. So Imodium basically stops diarrhea, but you've got diarrhea for a reason. Your body is trying to get rid of what's in there ASAP. So using Imodium to stop it from happening is going to keep that pathogen, whether it's a parasite or bacteria or mold, inside your body, and it's actually going to, proliferate. You're going to give it a home, and it's going to stay in there, and it's going to cause you more problems in the future. So it's definitely not good to use Imodium. When you get Bali belly, I always say, just let it happen. Just stay near the toilet and just let it happen, ride the wave and just get it out of your system. Do whatever it takes to get it out of your system as well. And I always recommend using things like, making sure that you've got lots of fluids, drinking jamu. Jamu is such a great drink. All the Indonesians know, if you've been here long enough, you would have drank it. It's such a great formula for helping you flush everything out. It's full of turmeric and ginger. I will go into that in more detail. So, the IBS dietary organizations that advise on IBS and digestive issues, like the gastroenterologists, they always say that the exact cause of IBS is not known. Which is really, I find that that's kind of plain dumb, because there are tens of thousands of research papers on IBS, inflammatory bowel disease, all sorts of gut issues, yet we don't know why it's caused. It's funny to me. And so that brings me to this. What do all of these countries have in common is excessive antibiotic use, excessive sanitation. It's, for example, actually too many C-sections. I know that that's not always avoidable, but actually that causes an issue with microbiome composition in later life. Using too many pesticides. So a lot of food in the Western countries is mass produced, use pesticides all over the shop, and you are just killing all the good bacteria, as not only on the food but also in your guts. Because say if you're consuming an apple and you haven't washed it, the pesticides or herbicides, they're designed to kill small life. So when you consume that apple every single day, you're also consuming those pesticides, and that's going to impact your gut. Does anyone not wash their vegetables here? It's okay if you haven't. Because actually I see a lot of clients who don't wash their fruits and vegetables, and it shocks me. You know, it's more common than you think, and people think, you know, maybe buying a box of blueberries, just having it in the fridge and just picking at it and just eating it without washing it. It's, you know, a lot of people do it. But they don't think that it's not just bacteria that's on the fruits and vegetables, it's also pesticides and herbicides. So, ultra-processed foods with no fiber. we eat so many ultra-processed foods in all of these countries, like McDonald's, all of like bread from the supermarket that is devoid of fiber, refined flour, refined sugar. You know, it's all, as this author describes, it's all about soft food. It's lacking in fiber. It doesn't actually feed your gut microbiome. So that's another thing. Stress, we're all so stressed. Anyone really super stressed in work or had been really stressed at work? And yep, me too. We also have various other ingredients in our ultra-processed foods, like emulsifiers, sweeteners, all sorts of things that would actually impact your gut microbiome. And there's more and more emerging research to show that these ingredients impact your health negatively. Other things for women to know, hormonal contraception, and why we make women take the hormonal contraception only is another topic we will discuss another time, but that isn't one thing that really irks me. But hormonal contraception is a massive thing for women. And actually, on my previous slide, I said most of the IBS sufferers are actually women. 65% of women, or IBS sufferers, are women. And why is that? Perhaps it's the hormonal contraception that we're all taking, because that hormones, synthetic hormones, slow down your gut. So if you slow down your gut, a lot of bacteria stays in your gut, so you get more constipation, and that causes more proliferation of bad bacteria, and therefore digestive issues. Okay. Okay. If anyone has had digestive issues, you'll know that impacts other aspects of your health. There's this massive gut-brain connection. So a imbalanced gut flora, poor digestion, that will also impact your mental health. A lot of people actually get depression or anxiety, and they feel like it's not for any reason. There's no proper reason for this, feeling unwell. And actually, I always describe depression and anxiety as states of inflammation. Your body wants you to rest and stay at home because you are in a state of inflammation, you want to recover. And really, if your gut is in inflammation, then so will your brain, because that's a direct telephone line called the vagus nerve that dictates that. Allergies, anyone got skin issues at all? Any eczema, rashes or anything? Yeah, so the gut lining, where there is too much permeability in your gut lining, maybe if there's any inflammatory foods, that can also cause the inflammatory chemicals called cytokines to circulate around your body. There are so many other reasons for skin issues, but some of the reasons are because of poor gut health. Obesity as well, that's huge. Like there is, poor gut microbiomes are linked to having more risk of obesity because of some bacteria basically change your ability to metabolize sugar, and that can impact obesity. So alarm bells. I always when we use medication to silence these alarm bells, I think it's a really, really foolish thing to do, because a lot of problems such as constipation, acid reflux, pain in your gut, bloating, any more serious conditions of inflammatory bowel disease, maybe even bad breath or poor dental health, it's a sign of imbalance or inflammation in your body, and your body's trying to tell you something, but we don't speak body language, unfortunately, and we speak English, and unfortunately your body doesn't speak English. But we do need to listen to our bodies. We shouldn't really just use medication, say for example, to use laxatives to solve your constipation. It doesn't work long term. It actually makes the situation worse. So I urge you to look into your health issues in a bit more depth. So today what we're going to cover is the common problems that will happen with digestive issues, dietary culprits, and also what we can do to help improve your gut microbiome and your gut issues. Very practical things actually, because a lot of people go straight to supplementation, and really you have to do so many other steps first before you go to supplements. Supplements won't fix your problem if your fundamentals are not working right. So we'll go into that. And bonus, we will go into Bali Belly and what to do to bounce back from it and how to avoid it. Okay. So the digestive system, I'm a big lover of science, so I always talk about the science of how the body works. It is so important to look at the digestive system from the very top to the bottom, and that's from your mouth to your anus. There's so many components to your digestive system that all works in synergy, and if, for example, you're not chewing properly, you're not doing the first very step, none of this will work very well. Okay. Oops. So chewing. Does anyone eat too fast? Yeah. So eating too fast is the biggest mistake everybody makes. The biggest mistake. Everybody who comes to me to work with me, or even just asks me a question as to why they're bloated, they eat too fast. They wolf down their food and they don't chew it. I see some smiles in here. You're feeling a bit guilty, are we? So if you eat too fast, you're never going to be able to digest well. It's like the first person who does the relay race in the team. If the first person who runs the relay race isn't fast enough, or they trip, then the rest of the digestive system will suffer, right? So chewing is so fundamental. We should be doing it about 30 to 40 times per mouthful. And I'm talking about, like, say for example, if you're eating a piece of broccoli or a chunk of steak, you must be chewing enough. If you don't chew, then you will never, your stomach or your small intestine will never ever be able to do its job properly. Okay. How many times do you guys chew? Like 5 times, 10 times? Greg, you can answer this question because I know you don't. 10. Yeah. Eats very fast. And so, yeah. If you don't chew enough, then of course, like your small intestine, your stomach won't be able to break all the particles down. I don't know if you ever saw this person on Instagram or TikTok. This dude was just eating, or just basically drinking his meal. He didn't chew his food. He just literally swallowed it whole. And I was amazed. Did you see that video? No, anyway, if I ever find it, I will share it on my Instagram. It's insane. He just swallowed it whole. And it was just the most bizarre thing. If you put whole food into your stomach acid, I'll skip to the stomach. Your stomach has a pH of 1.5 to 3.5. It's very, very acidic. If you put stomach acid on this table, it would burn through it. It's that acidic, but you have a protective lining in your stomach to help you not get burnt. But it's there to dissolve all your food. But it's harder if your food is whole. So if eggs and broccoli or meat is in there and it's not properly chewed, how would you expect your stomach to do its job? You can't. What's even worse is that if you go down to the small intestine, I'll go through that in more detail later because I actually talk about that a lot. But yeah, that's the first step, is chewing at the end of the day. Okay, so try this. If you have any gut issues like bloating, constipation, pain in your guts, diarrhea, the first thing you must do is to chew your food 30 to 40 times before swallowing. If you struggle with that, put your fork down before you take your next bite. Or maybe challenge each other. If you eat with your partner or something, or your friend, get them to time you and like kind of reverse race each other to eat slow. Okay, because if you take anything away from this presentation, this is the message. You can ignore everything else. Okay, so I will go into more depth in terms of the small intestine, because that's a big topic. So we all know that stress, or we should know that stress impacts your gut function, really. You've got, has anyone got like stress-induced digestive issues? Yeah? Okay, so it's so important. The gut-brain connection is profound, and we only started researching this maybe in the last 10 years. And there's a director on the phone line. I call it is called the vagus nerve, and it is the nerve that connects your brain to all of your vital organs, and really importantly, your entire digestive system. If you are in a stress state, you will be in a fight or flight mode. For example, or actually more correctly known as sympathetic nervous system kicks into play. So if you imagine yourself as a cave person, or like hunter-gatherer, and you're being chased by a saber-toothed tiger, there is no time to digest your food. There is no time to poop, so you will probably get constipation. Everything slows down. You really need to focus on running away, but we're in 2024 and we don't do that anymore, but we're just at our laptops working really hard and still stressed, but we're not running away. Okay, so if you are in fight or flight, you're never going to really be able to digest properly, and actually that can cause you to produce less stomach acid, produce less digestive enzymes, and your gut might slow down. There's so many problems that happen with your digestion just because of stress. So that's another thing that you must work on in order to digest better. Maybe if you are taking your lunch, maybe take your food away from your lunchtime, or away from your laptop. So if you are trying to eat, don't work in front of your laptop. Don't do a meeting, or maybe don't take a meal on the go. A lot of people I speak to, they often take a breakfast bar and eat it in the car whilst they take their kids to work. Or maybe they'll just scoff some food down and then rush out the door to get to work first thing in the morning. It is not a conducive way to eat. You must wait until you have a spare moment to eat, or maybe use something that's really easy to digest, maybe like scrambled eggs or a protein smoothie, if that's easier for you. Okay. Does anyone get heartburn? No? I'm going to skip past this. Heartburn? Anyone? You get heartburn?
I have a quick question.
Yeah.
At the end.
You can ask me now or at the end. I don't mind.
Well, I've always heard that it's good to eat and then walk or move. Can you do it together, or is that a bad thing? Because I eat and walk a lot.
Do you have any digestive issues?
Yeah, but I think it's the chewing.
Yeah, I would probably sit still and eat, because firstly, if you're walking, your body's still active. You think, your body still thinks you're trying to get to, you've got to do something, right? You're not actually resting, if you like. You are better off sitting down to have your meal, and then maybe after 20 minutes, 30 minutes, go and have a walk afterwards if you want to go and have a walk and get your muscles moving, to help your digestion. Yeah, makes sense? So yeah. So heartburn, if you do get any heartburn or burning, like an acid reflux type of symptom, a lot of people do when they're stressed. That is not actually just about high stomach acid. So all the medications out there are there, like I don't know what you call it over here, but we call it Gaviscon in the UK and America, like PPI inhibitors, things like that. They actually lower your stomach acid, but actually that makes it harder for your stomach to break down food. So if you've got like a bunch of food in your stomach, but you're trying to alkalize your stomach acid, then it actually makes it harder for you to break down your foods properly and digest it. So It doesn't make sense. Actually, a lot of people I see have low stomach acid instead. So yeah, low stomach acid can cause basically the exact same symptoms as high stomach acid, such as acid reflux and heartburn. So a lot of people are getting misdiagnosed. Okay. Common problem with not digesting your foods properly, and it comes back to the whole stress thing. If you are in a stress state and you're in fight or flight, your brain is not going to send enough signals. It will send some signals, but not enough signals to help you make stomach acid, but also digestive enzymes from your pancreas and your small intestine, and also bile that's in your liver to be released to help you digest fats. So does anyone struggle with fatty foods or meats? Yeah. So maybe there's an issue with like your bile production to help you digest, emulsify the fats for absorption. Maybe you don't have enough digestive enzymes to break down meat as well. So a lot of people avoid meat because they can't digest it very well. Oh, does someone want to come in? Oh, no. Don't worry, I think she's walking off. So a lot of people avoid meat because they can't digest it. Does anyone avoid meat for that reason? Yeah. Okay, so I always say that it's not necessarily the food that is the problem. It's actually you. Because if you are not producing enough of these digestive chemicals, of course you can't digest meat, you know. And a lot of people avoid meat for that reason and then end up with various nutrient deficiencies if they're susceptible. So it's not fixing the root cause. Actually, you're just taking away something that you personally can't digest, but you should probably sort out your ability to make digestive enzymes. Okay. The small intestine. So I talk about the small intestine a lot because that's where you basically digest a lot of your food. So after your stomach finishes with doing that job, it passes it on to this bit, the really, really long small intestine. So in the stomach, your food stays there for about 40 minutes to 2 hours, depending on how fast your stomach is. Sometimes if you don't chew properly, or you're eating too fast, or maybe you're too stressed, your stomach will keep it all in keep it all in there for too long. So if anyone gets bloating at the top of your abdomen, that is all about your stomach not being able to release it into your small intestine fast enough. Okay. So how do you allow that to happen? Rest. Make sure you eat in a mindful environment. Don't rush your food. Make sure if you do need digestive support, you can use digestive enzymes and things like that. So small intestine is where you absorb a lot of your food, but also there are a lot of problems there as well. So if you have skin issues because of gut inflammation, this will be where it is, because actually 75% of your immune system is in your gut as well. And that, if there is inflammation in your gut, that will translate to inflammatory issues, and that can be, say for example, a rash on your skin. A rash on your skin is inflammation. Okay. Bacteria, I will go back to the gut. This is really important. Bacteria, as if you guys don't know, bacteria, you have trillions and trillions of microbes all over your body, on your skin, in your mouth, in your guts, everywhere. And that might encompass things like fungus as well, like yeast, parasites, viruses as well. We have everything in us. And we have basically a symbiotic relationship. Actually, they call us a symbiote. I mean, all mammals have bacteria all over them. So we're not just humans, actually. We have so much more microbial DNA than human DNA. It's so fascinating. So there's a lot of researchers still look into whether they're controlling us or we're controlling them. Who knows? So most of them actually live symbiotically with you and should help you. But when you get overgrowth, you can get problems like excessive gas, too much flatulence, too much farting, bloating, constipation, diarrhea, loose bowels, and abdominal pain. But also, mental health issues, obesity or excessive weight, or maybe even hormonal problems, immune problems, autoimmunity. There's loads and loads of health issues that are linked to having an overgrowth of bacteria. So, if you don't chew very well, all this food isn't going to be broken down very well. So when it gets to your small intestine, you won't absorb it very well. It will cause inflammation because the food is in these big particles and your body is like, what the hell am I going to do with this? What is this? This is not food. Why is it not mushy like I know it's supposed to be? And that can cause a leaky gut situation. If anyone is interested in why leaky gut is if anyone suspects leaky gut, let me know. That is basically where your gut might be a bit more too permeable, so it ends up causing food sensitivities, or maybe even particles of food will go into your bloodstream, and that can cause various issues like pain, allergies. Maybe if you've ever seen like little pimples on your face. Anyone seen that before? Like little pimples, yeah? Yeah, so that is attributed to food sensitivities. So that could potentially be like wheat. Wheat is a common problem. Wheat and gluten, dairy, maybe shellfish, maybe nuts and seeds. That can cause an issue with permeability, basically. So if you don't eat the food and you don't absorb it properly, who's going to have it? Whoops. Oh, don't go away. Who's going to have it instead? It will be the bacteria that lives in your gut. If you're not going to consume or absorb it efficiently, that bacteria that you're going to have in your gut will ferment it. So fermentation, if you know very much about alcohol, is that okay? Beer and wine, you ferment sugars, the bacteria makes gas, and the gas expands, right? That happens in your gut as well. So if you, does anyone get bloating here? Yeah? Yeah, okay, loads of bloating here. So if you're consuming, say for example, a lot of sugar, and bacteria loves sugar, so does fungus as well, like candida. They love sugar. So what they do will be to ferment the sugar, not even in just sugary foods, but also like fruits and even in your vegetables, there is a form of sugar. It will ferment it, it will create alcohol, and it will create gas, and then basically your gut bacterium has a party in there, and that causes the bloating. So the solution really is to solve the overgrowth. If you have too much bacteria, you will have a party in your gut because they will make loads of gas for you. And then you get this situation, you have more farting as well. So, okay. Okay, yeah. So I do a lot of bacterial testing. If you guys don't know about what I do, so a lot of my clients have very complex health issues, and I do bacterial, like microbiome testing, so testing the stool. The problem with conventional healthcare systems is that we don't really get enough data from gastroenterology. They usually do tests on like your gut, and it says if you it runs a test and it will check whether you have parasites or no, or a bad bacteria or no, and it's going to be a yes or no answer from the test. But you don't really get an understanding of what types of bacteria you have. So these are two different tests, snippets from two different tests. This is my client, who is probably the most complex client I've ever had in terms of digestive issues. Her bloating will not budge, and I've been working with her for 2 years, and it's been so difficult. So when we did her test, we found that she had loads of this blue mold yeast that you find that grows on fruit. So her food hygiene was really bad. So that was overgrown. She had Klebsiella, which is like a something that you might catch from a hospital. Same with that one. So loads and loads of that sort of bacteria, all at the very end. Streptococcus, Citrobacter, Staphylococcus, they're all types of bacteria that will overgrow and cause problems in your gut. This was mine here. Mine wasn't so good either. This was 2 years ago. And I had loose stools, I had bloating, I was under a lot of stress back then. I had plenty of Klebsiella, Streptococcus. All of these types of bacteria will cause me problems with all of the above, basically. So I think when you can't get to the root cause, I think it's really important to do some data gathering and understand exactly what's going on. Okay, so in order to solve this bloating, if you suffer from that, firstly you need to solve the digestion aspect. So before you even look at supplementation, chew properly, please. chew properly, and then that will help support your gut health and help you digest, make digestive enzymes properly. Maybe if you need to, you can also use things like bone broth, because that is a rich source in collagen, L-glutamine, glycine, that really helps to support the gut lining to help repair the gut cells. Bone broth? Bone broth. Have you ever had that? No? Bone broth.
Bone, from the bone, like bone.
Yeah. So like in Asian medicines, or Asian cuisine, we use a lot of like broths, like using bones and meat and everything to make bone broth. It's very lots of collagen, lots and lots of nutrients, amino acids to help you with that. So it's a good thing to have. Some people might not do well on it though if you have histamine problems. So histamine is a chemical. Does everybody know what histamine is? It's like a chemical that makes you itchy. So if you have hay fever or allergies, you tend to take antihistamines as a drug to block the histamine receptors. So the natural enzyme that helps you break down histamine is actually made in your gut. So if your gut is not healthy, then you won't make enough of the enzyme to break down histamine, and then therefore you have more risk of allergies like asthma, hay fever, eczema, maybe even to pet dander, whatever. So it's really important to support your gut when you have histamine problems. If you have histamine intolerance, symptoms might be bloating, diarrhea, the itchiness, maybe rashes. What sorts of histamine intolerance symptoms do you have?
So I usually have a migraine.
Migraines, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, or like a body cramps,
Mm-hmm.
or just a face go all around the place. So just small spots.
Okay.
It really depends. I think it usually starts on the face, so I can see the symptoms, and then it goes to migraine and the cramps, and that's the worst.
Yeah.
So it's like a huge pain.
Yeah. Have you ever tried DAO enzyme? DAO?
I tried.
Yeah.
It was not really working.
It doesn't
for me.
work. Okay. Okay. Well, we can talk about that in more depth.
Yeah.
Okay, so so you need to, there's the things that you have to do before you even go to supplementation. I'll just quickly gloss over this. If anyone has got bloating and can't get rid of it, there are steps to doing this. So has anyone heard of the supplement called Simprove? Like it's a probiotic, it's a liquid one, it's very expensive and it's like super popular in the UK. Anyone? No? Okay, never mind. So basically it's a really potent probiotic, but one of my clients actually went to A&E after, to the hospital after taking that supplement because it had too much bacteria, and I think it caused a histamine reaction and caused her to be very, very unwell. So not all probiotics are good, and it's also not always the best time to take probiotics. There are lots of gut health practitioners, experts, scientists, whoever, that say that everybody should take a probiotic. It's not true. We shouldn't always take a probiotic, and not everybody would benefit from it from right now. Because if you had this situation and you've got too much bacteria, adding more bacteria is not necessarily going to solve the problem. Actually, it could make it worse. So there's method to the madness. When you solve a situation like that, you really need to remove the inflammatory triggers first, replace with foods that will support you, repair the gut, then put your bacteria in, and then maintain it. So probiotics should actually be at the very end of the protocol, not at the beginning, right? Okay. So I'm not going to go into too much detail. I will be sending these slides out, But if you are you guys interested in how to actually get rid of bloating and the intricacies of that? Do you want me to go into that? Yeah?
Yes.
Okay, cool. So firstly, it's a 5R protocol. So at the very beginning is removing the inflammatory triggers. So what's in an inflammatory food? Does anyone know? Any ideas what an inflammatory food might be?
Right.
Yes, yeah. Bread, not all types of bread are the same though. If you get bread from the supermarket that's highly refined and full of junk, that's an inflammatory food. But maybe sourdough that's made from the local bakery, that's actually quite an anti-inflammatory food. So actually the ultra processing of foods that when once normal is the problem. But otherwise, wheat can be really inflammatory because of the way that we've grown it. We just spray pesticides all over our wheat now, and that can cause inflammation. And that's why a lot of people struggle with wheat in America, in the UK, in Australia, but don't struggle with it in Italy, for instance. Other things might be dairy. If you struggle with dairy, that might be something to take out. Other inflammatory foods might be sugar. As I said earlier, sugar drives the growth of bad bacteria and yeast. And so taking sugar out is probably going to be the main thing that will help you with bloating. Replace it with nourishing food. So you, like I said, with bone broth, maybe some gentle fibers. If you struggle with too much fiber, like too many greens or too many beans and lentils, then maybe taking it a step back with fruits or soft fruits might be an easier option. Does anyone struggle with too much fiber? No? Everybody good with vegetables? Okay, cool. Repairing, so once you've basically taken the inflammatory triggers out and then replenish with some good foods that actually work for you. So I generally go for a framework that is quite easy, maybe like a protein source, so meats, eggs, fish, plant proteins if you can tolerate it. Not everybody can tolerate plant proteins. I struggle with it, a lot of people do. Some cooked vegetables always. A good source of carbohydrates, so pumpkins, sweet potatoes. That is a generally very safe composition of food to eat when you have digestive issues and very well rounded in terms of nutrition. After you've done all that, repair your gut. So this is the time to use things like L-glutamine. You can use that in a supplement form, but you can use it also from your foods. Like I said, bone broth is a great source of L-glutamine. Maybe even cooking your chicken bones. So if you slow cook a chicken carcass and make some bone broth, yes.
And for people who are
vegan,
like a substitute for bone broth or something that can help?
There is nothing. Sorry, unfortunately there is nothing. You cannot get collagen in plant foods, unfortunately. So it's hard. I see a lot of vegan clients actually with digestive issues because of too much fiber. Basically, if you're eating plants only, that is just so much fiber. That is literally all fiber, lots of phytonutrients. Everything's great for you, but there's too much. And when you have too much fiber or too much sugar, or like carbohydrates, then that causes fermentation from the gut microbes in your gut. And that gas proliferates more bacteria, and you get this vicious cycle of excess digestive issues. Some vegans do amazingly on a vegan diet. Other people won't. There's been so many people who actually struggle terribly. I tried it one time. Any time I do go plant-based, I will feel very sick after a week. Some people do great, but everybody's different. So repairing the guts. There are other things you can do. PHGG, guar gum powder can be helpful, but it doesn't do the same thing as L-glutamine or any collagen-based nutrients. You can use like mucilage types of fiber, like chia seeds. So all of these will help improve the mucus layer on your gut, but they won't repair it that well. I always think that using collagen is far better, or maybe some fats as well to help that. Okay. And repopulate. So this is like stage 4. This is where you use probiotics. So you can use fermented foods. So has anyone tried fermented foods like kimchi, sauerkraut? Yeah. Do you tolerate it well? Yeah, good. Yeah. I generally find it better, and better than using probiotics, but I use a combination. So sauerkraut's my favorite. I basically eat it every day. Kimchi, I eat it every day. Miso paste, tempeh, that's a traditional Indonesian soybean block. It's been fermented. Miso, yeah. Yeah, miso is a fermented soybean paste. But if you cook with it, then the bacteria might die. So, yeah, kefir as well. Kombucha, one of my other favorites. So I find that fermented foods and drink are actually better ways of adding probiotics to your, and they're far more effective in my eyes, because I find that when you take supplements as probiotics, you take it and then maybe you'll stop after a while and then the benefits go away. Because the bacteria doesn't always adhere to your gut. They might just get pooped out. And actually you do need lots of prebiotics, basically fibers like inulin, from apple pectin, maybe foods basically in fruits and vegetables to help the bacteria stick. So that's why fermented foods are so good, because you get the fiber from the vegetables and the bacteria as well to help everything stick. Okay, and retain. What sort of habits will actually help maintain a healthy microbiome of bacteria? You guys tell me. What do you think? Any ideas? Yeah.
Eating whole foods,
Yeah.
not processed foods.
Yes. So, yeah. Sleeping well, keeping your stress levels low, chewing your foods again.
Drink a lot of water.
Yeah, drinking plenty of water. Water is fundamental for gut health. Yeah. Yeah, so there's loads of things that we can do, and really we have all the answers. We know what we should be doing. Drinking too much alcohol will obliterate your gut microbiome because it's an antiseptic at the end of the day. You use alcohol to clean surfaces and stuff, so if you drink it at the weekend, you're going to obliterate your gut microbiome. So, your gut microbiome will bounce back, but, I don't know if anyone gets alcohol poops or really bad digestive symptoms after a night of drinking alcohol. Anyone experience that? Yeah? Yeah, because, it's a toxin and will kill your bacteria and cause inflammation at your gut lining, so, yeah. Constipation, anyone got constipation or struggled with it in the past? You should be pooping once a day at least. If you're not pooping once a day, you're constipated. Okay. So actually, before we even go there, the small intestine is, most of your food stays in there for about 5 hours, but it actually goes into your large intestine all around the outside of your gut for about 10 hours. 10 hours. For some people, it can stay in there for like 40 hours, depending on how constipated you are. I have clients who have never ever pooped normally without laxatives. I had someone come to me and she is in her 20s, and for her entire life, she has used laxatives. And the longest she has not pooped for was 1 month. 1 month! Where do you think all that is going? You've got so much waste every single day. I always say, if you don't poop every day, it's almost like not taking the trash out in your house. If you just leave all your trash in your house, it's going to make your house stinky, right? Same happens in your gut. So, poop every day. Okay, so this is the Bristol stool chart. If you can see, this is the type of poops you can get generally. If you are pooping rabbit poop, that is constipation, and you should not be. You need to be drinking far more water. If you drink plenty of water and you're still getting rabbit poop, there is an issue with the bulking action of your that your large intestine does. You should be having poops like this, nice and sausage shaped and easy to pass. You don't need to push. You shouldn't need to strain. It should be nice and easy, but also it shouldn't be soft and blobby or even diarrhea. So you kind of want to achieve a perfect poop. I call them perfect poops. When you have a perfect poop, it's so satisfying and it feels good. You feel good. Yeah, good. Question?
If the diarrhea happens often, what does that mean?
Basically, you've got something in your gut your body doesn't want. So if it's parasites or like a virus or some sort of bad bacteria, your body just does not want it and wants to get it out ASAP. So let it happen. If it still doesn't stop, then seek help. Go to your doctor, you know, maybe do a test to see if you do have a parasite, see if there's anything that is an issue. Maybe there's something in your food that's causing you to go to the toilet. So for me, and I know someone else in this room will struggle with protein powders or protein supplements, or maybe just powdered supplements. I can't take protein powders myself. I can't have pea protein, whey protein. I just can't. If I take it, I will go to the toilet. I'll go straight to the toilet and it will give me diarrhea. For some people, protein powders are just not the form of protein that is easy to digest, so that can cause you to have digestive issues. Amongst that, maybe even like eating too much sugar, maybe even eating chickpeas, anything with some plant-based proteins like legumes can also cause diarrhea symptoms. For me, I struggle with chickpeas. Does anyone do you struggle with chickpeas? You love chickpeas, yeah. I like them, I just can't eat them. Yeah.
Well, for me, it's happened only in Bali, mostly from meat and cheese.
Mm-hmm.
So I've had to limit that, and that's helped remove it.
Okay.
When I do bad messes.
Yeah.
So we're talking about Bali Belly.
Yeah.
You said, is that coming up?
Yeah, it will come up, but yeah. So meat, if you do eat meat, I highly recommend you don't eat it rare. So anyone loves steak here? Everybody loves steak, yeah, I love steak. So if you are, generally, I don't think anyone should be eating it rare or blue. I think that's a really dumb idea. Because even though it tastes good, I think not cooking your meat properly exposes you to a lot of parasites and bacteria, especially if meat hasn't been refrigerated properly. Cheese, if you have dairy problems, if you struggle with digesting dairy, it's probably because you don't have enough lactase, or you have an intolerance to the casein protein or the whey protein in dairy. It's very individual. Some people will be great on dairy, some people not so great on dairy. Luck of the draw. But yeah, meat, if you are eating on the go and you're not chewing properly, then you definitely won't be digesting your meat very well. So it really depends. Sometimes different types of meat as well will cause problems. I find that halal meat is actually quite easy to digest. In Indonesia, I think all of our meat is halal, right? So it's quite clean. Yeah. Okay. Next up. Keeping the large intestine healthy. So if anyone has constipation and doesn't poop every single day, really need to work on the fundamentals. We can always supplement with things like magnesium citrates, vitamin C, fiber supplements, but really, first things first, are you drinking enough water? We forget to drink. I forget to drink sometimes, and that reminds me, I should probably take a sip. But water makes up 60% of your cells. If you don't have enough water on a day-to-day, and especially in this heat, then your gut's not going to work properly. You're not going to have enough water to give your stools enough moisture to get everything going. All of your cells need water in order to help you contract your muscles. So exercise, of course, if you do struggle from constipation, like twisting motions to help twist your midsection is really important. Maybe in yoga we do a lot of supine twisting. In Pilates, even bicycle crunches will help your midsection to massage your gut muscles. Okay, gassy. I won't ask anyone if you have a lot of gas because it's a sensitive topic. If you do have excess gas, I always say it's a sign. You need to think about if you do fast a lot and you have a lot of gas. Firstly, is it more than usual? Because it is normal to fart. It is normal to release gas, but excess gassiness can also be a problem because it might be a sign of overgrowth of bacteria. Is there a smell or is it odorless? Because there are different types of bacteria that make a lot of sulfur smells. So that's what that eggy smell. If it's odorless, it's probably methane types of bacteria that are overgrowing. And when it's methane types of bacteria, they can also cause a lot of constipation. So it's all information. I think it's really important to just listen to your body and see what these signs are telling you rather than try and stop it from happening completely. Listen to it. Okay. What time is it? Anyone? I don't know. Hopefully I'm on time. Okay. We're running. I'll keep running then. So we are encouraged to eat a lot of plants. We're told that we need to eat 30 types of plants a week. But it doesn't always work for everybody. I think it's important to include plants in your diet because it's, it helps support your gut microbiome. There's so many benefits to having fiber, but not everybody can consume the same amount of fiber that one person might benefit from. Sometimes people get more diarrhea with too much fiber and too much bloating for that matter. Has anyone heard of the low FODMAP diet? Yeah, the low FODMAP diet is basically a type of diet that the conventional dietetic system will recommend if you have IBS or bloating. So it's really hard. It's a diet that basically tells you to avoid all of the fermentable sugars that are present in vegetables, fruits, dairy, even some grains and legumes. Legumes are a big source of FODMAPs. Is an acronym for, I will not tell you the acronym because it's really long. It's like fructose, oligosaccharides, blah, 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 really long. But basically, all of these foods are super healthy. We've got like watermelon in here, Brussels sprouts, eggplant, yogurt, chicory, like loads and loads of plant foods that are super, super healthy. But in this diet, you're told to avoid it to help get rid of bloating because these are all of the nutrients that actually your bacteria loves and then ferments to make gas. So the conventional approach is to stop you eating the foods that feed your gut to make gas, right? So you stop making gas. It doesn't make sense to avoid all of that because research actually shows, ignore everything else on here, but this column here, the low FODMAP diet actually not only starves your bad bacteria, but also starves the good bacteria. So these little blobs are bacteria, and you see on a low FODMAP diet, you actually get a really low level of bacteria. So yeah, Western diet's even worse because that causes a lot of inflammation. But yeah, overall, it's a low FODMAP diet doesn't actually solve any problems like the conventional healthcare system wants you to believe. I find it extremely stressful because you have to avoid so many different types of healthy foods. It can actually drive a lot of anxiety around food and a poor relationship with food as well. Okay, so what actually, we went through this already, but what actually causes overgrowth? Sugar. Sugar is huge. So, anyone got a sweet tooth? Yeah. So sugar drives bacteria. If you had sugar it's basically the bacteria's preferred source of fuel. Or fungal yeasts like Candida. Anyone heard of Candida before? That's like a fungal infection that a lot of people have and can cause digestive issues. That feeds on sugar. It loves sugar and will just proliferate on sugar. If anyone doesn't know what Candida is, look it up. You might find that the symptoms resonate with you. Yeah.
What's it called again?
Candida. Candida.
Candida.
Yeah. Causes a lot of bloating. Okay. So cutting out sugar is helpful. And by the way, smoothie bowls is basically releasing a lot of sugar from fruits, which are generally encased in a lot of fiber that helps slow down the release of sugar. But when we're eating it in a smoothie bowl, you actually get more of the sugar released very, very quickly. And I think fasting in the morning, that's a terrible thing to eat. But a lot of us do that. ultra-processed foods very quickly. So I mentioned this book because I love this book. Literally, it will change your life, and I recommend everybody reads it because a lot of our diets, lots of our food in the Western society is just full of junk. We are eating so much junk now. Apparently, about 65% of the Western diet is ultra-processed. So burgers, sodas, plant-based burgers, which are told, we're told that they're healthy, they are terrible for you. This is the list of ingredients in a plant-based burger. It's fake meat. It's terrible for you. So if you are vegan, I always recommend that you eat whole grains and legumes. If you can handle those, fine. That is your best source of protein. Soy, tempeh, don't go for this. This is terrible. So chemicals in our foods, for example, the excess sugar, high fructose corn syrup will drive bacterial growth. Things like emulsifiers will disrupt your microbiome because it actually displaces some of your good bacteria. Emulsifiers are used in all of our processed foods. We've got additives, preservatives, we've got herbicides and pesticides in our foods as well. Loads of things that are really going against us in modern day. Bali Belly. Has anyone watched that film, Bridesmaids? Yeah. I recommend if you haven't watched it. I touched on this earlier. So Bali Belly being, having diarrhea. I mean, all of us have struggled with it. I think I had a bout of it yesterday or the day before. But I don't think anyone is safe from Bali Belly because, or especially if you're from America, the UK, Australia, if you've lived in Western countries, you will probably encounter Bali Belly at some point. And naively, at the beginning of your Bali journey, you'll probably be like, oh, I'm totally fine, I have an iron stomach, I'll be good. Probably not, because you'll find out later that the water system is not as sanitary as Western countries, and everybody drinks mineral water for a reason. Maybe even we get exposure to the parasites in water systems when we wash our fruits and vegetables, for instance. If you go to a restaurant and they use tap water to wash their fruits and vegetables, but you eat it raw, you're also going to be consuming maybe amoebas or eggs or parasites in your food. So it can be really tricky to avoid. How to avoid it? Sadly, I had to put nasi campur here. I hate to do that because I love nasi campur. But the thing is, a lot of restaurants will keep their foods out on these glass displays, but there is no refrigeration. The foods are left there for hours and hours, and because we have a hot climate here, the bacteria or whatever will actually proliferate because it's a perfect environment for bacteria to grow. It's warm. There's lots of nutrients for the bacteria to grow on, and that's really what can cause a lot of digestive issues. And as Westerners, coming to Bali, we all love nasi campur because you can just have lots of different components to your food. It's so much fun, and you can get quite a healthy meal if there we go. Right. So sadly, nasi campur, especially if it's not been refrigerated properly, is out. But if you go to a restaurant, an Indonesian restaurant, I always say maybe just ask them to do something fresh, cook you something fresh from the menu rather than going for the food that's been put in the display. So, really sad. Steak, go for medium cooked steak and upwards, because if it's too rare, you've got a risk of contracting parasites if it's not cooked well, especially. Sushi, I always avoid sushi. Sushi, sashimi, raw fish, is a massive source of parasites. Unfortunately, I love sushi. It's one of my favourite foods. It's really sad to say that. But yeah, fish, especially if it's not been handled properly, you don't know how long the fish has been out for. It can be a source of parasites. Bagged salad. So bagged salad actually there's been loads of reports, especially in America and the UK, to find actually is a source of E. coli. E. coli is a really upsetting bacteria that can cause food poisoning. Salmonella can be found in bagged salad because the plastic creates a lot of moisture retention, and that can cause more bacteria growth. So yeah, salads are not actually a great thing to have. If you do have it, maybe go for the ones that are loose and just wash it with some water, like mineral water, bicarbonate of soda, and a little bit of vinegar. That should help to get rid of bacteria for you. So when I go out to a restaurant, I very rarely ever order a salad. I go for cooked vegetables only. And if you have digestive issues, I always recommend cooked vegetables are better for you than raw salads. Okay. Oh, that's the wrong caption. Okay, ignore that. Smoothie bowls. When you're having a smoothie bowl, how do you know that they're washing the blender properly? Maybe they're washing it in tap water. Because the smoothie bowl, the fruits are not cooked. They're not cooked at all. If they're not washing with filtered water, perhaps the blender could be full of bacteria, and that might not be done right. Brushing your teeth as well, using mineral water instead of tap water here. I think that's important. Okay, and what to do when you have Bali Belly, lastly. So, firstly, let it happen. If you've got diarrhea, just ride it. You need to just be at home. Don't do anything, just let it happen. If you have diarrhea and you are struggling to, or if you are struggling to go, maybe you've got a lot of pain, try having some more jamu to push more of it out. Making sure that you are hydrated with lots of fluids. I always think we've got the best medicine here. Coconuts, drink plenty of coconuts. Probiotics are really important. So having probiotics are great. Hopefully in that situation, if you have access to probiotics, I think it's great to have if you have Bali Belly. If all else fails, get tested for parasites and use a proper parasite cleanse, but not every parasite cleanse out there is equal. There are so many parasite cleanses out there that actually might not work. I'm sure everybody here has heard of a parasite cleanse from whatever WhatsApp group is going around. Anyone? Yeah? There's so many of those going around. Not every parasite cleanse will actually fix things for you. Sometimes they will be more harmful than you think. Juice cleanses, and I love juices. I think juices are great things to add to your diet. But I think having completely just juice is not always going to be a good thing to do. So be very mindful at how you're using juices, and don't starve your body. You need nutrition to help you beat the parasite infection. Anyway, so when it comes to parasites, you may even get worms, or you might get amoebas, amoebas are usually microscopic parasites that you find in water. Worms usually are in like little eggs, and you eat it in your meat or whatever, and then they grow into worms in your body, which is really unpleasant. And if you don't keep getting symptoms, just test. Unfortunately, we can't do much gastrointestinal testing here. Yeah.
From the previous slide, I have a question, because everyone always says, oh, just get charcoal tablets. Does that work?
I find that charcoal is really ineffective. So I actually use this brand for parasite cleansing. I find that this is far more effective. So you can use charcoal, but also charcoal, there's a problem with charcoal because it will bind to your minerals as well, and you need minerals from your food. That can be an issue. So in this product, it's called Biotoxin Binder. It will have like charcoal activated zeolites, which doesn't actually bind to your minerals. There's a few other things. Mimosa pudica seed is in this one, and it acts like a gel and kind of like draws all the toxins away. And then, yeah, so I would recommend this if...
What's the brand?
Cellcore.
Cellcore?
Yeah, it's an American brand, but yeah, you can buy it in Australia. I don't think you can buy it here, sadly. But I find, in my personal practice, I find that this, and with my clients, this is the most effective solution I've had. Yes?
What about Imodium?
No.
Avoid that?
Yeah, avoid that. So at the beginning of the session, I actually said that if you use Imodium, you are actually causing, basically Imodium is anti-diarrheal medication. If you stop the diarrhea, you're going to keep all the bacteria or parasites in your gut, but your body's trying to get rid of it. You're kind of like working against your body if you use Imodium. So it's not, I don't believe it's a good solution. Okay. Does that answer your question?
Yes.
Yeah. So yeah, if it still happens and you still don't get back to normal bowel movements, then I would seek help. Look for a professional and maybe do some parasite testing to see what you've got, and then that will help guide you as to how you should be tackling the problem. It's not all one size fits all. A lot of people have digestive issues, but it's different types of problems. But yeah, anyone got any more questions? I think we've run out of time, but yeah.
I have a question about protein powders.
Yeah.
So besides personal intolerances, are there any research on the effect of protein powder on gut health, even if you can tolerate it?
Yeah. So basically, I mean, it really depends on your needs. I think first and foremost, I think food is always first. Protein powders, there is definitely loads of research on L-glutamine, especially that as an amino acid, particular amino acid that is really helpful for repairing the gut lining. So that's really helpful. I think if you can't meet your protein needs in your food sources, I think having a protein powder is really helpful, but maybe going for something that's bioavailable. And for you, it might be plant protein, it might be whey protein, it might even be collagen, or it might be bone broth powder. There's different types of powders you can go for, but yeah, it's all a case of seeing what works for you. Yeah.
And then about bone broth, do you think the benefits are worth it to make your own bone broth for daily consumption?
Yeah, for sure. Because in Chinese culture, we use a lot of bone broth soups. So, and my mother always said that it helped me get good skin. But you know, I think it's really important because bone broth, the bones contain so much collagen, so many minerals, so much glycine and serine. All of these components help make strong cells in your gut, but also on your skin, on your joints, your bones, everything. So I think it's worthwhile, but honestly, I just buy mine because I don't have time. So there are solutions in this modern day. You don't have to make it. You don't have to slave away in the kitchen. Yeah. Any other questions? Any other questions?
They say that Xanax is actually helping also against Bali Belly.
Xanax. So, yeah. Remind me what Xanax does. I've gone out of my head. For what?
Snake fruit. Fruits.
Snake fruit.
Indonesian, like mainly in Indonesia, have it. Snake fruit.
Oh.
It tastes a bit like a mix of a pear and apple.
I thought you said Xanax then.
Yeah.
I was like, wait, what? Snake fruit. I was really confused.
Oh,
Yeah, snake fruit. I love snake fruit. It's yeah. If that's the traditional way to combat Bali Belly, I would totally trust that.
I was told.
Yeah.
Like 4 different locals.
Yeah, go for it. Yeah, I think a snake fruit would be a great thing to do, especially if it's got some sort of chemical in that is anti-parasitic. There's loads of plants that I would use to help kill parasites. Mimosa pudica seed would be one of them. So yeah, go for it. Any other questions? Okay, great. Thank you so much for coming today. I hope you found that helpful. I hope that... thank you. Great. So yeah, if you have any other questions, please do let me know. We run workshops here once a month. I think, Sinead, do you know when we're doing the next one?
November, October.
October. End of October. Yeah.
Middle of October.
Yeah.
And then we do another one.
Yeah. I think the next one is mental health, is it? Or I can't remember which one we're doing next. But we'll post it on the Nomio group. Or if you want to connect with me, I'm on Instagram. Where's my Instagram handle? And I will post it on my stories. There we are. That's me. And feel free to message me. I will post it on my stories, or follow SayaClub. SayaClub will post it on their stories as well whenever we do a workshop. And if you have any suggestions or any feedback or anything you want me to cover next time, please do let me know. I would love to hear it. Great. Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you.
Thank you.